Hi guys. So today is June 21st and it is the summer solstice, and that means the sun is entering the sign of Cancer. And I thought I post this topic that I wanted to talk about for a while about mother wounds for the divine masculine and feminines right about now, because Cancer is a very maternal sign. It's about home and motherhood and care. Um, so with Sun entering this sign and all the other planetary movements, all the retrogrades that are happening now, I feel there's a sense of urgency uh, of looking at our relationships with women in general, and especially with our mothers. Um, so right about now, or around this time for the next month, month or so, it could extend afterwards also. You could feel that a lot of old wounds and old resentments, all the feelings, especially the unwelcome feelings, the unhappy feelings that you might have pushed under the rug for the past so many years, or it could be even the past lives, are going to resurface for you to look at and to finally face and do something about it. Because with what's going on in the universe right now, as much as we are hiding away from the society into our own shells, all our stuff are resurfacing and we can't hide from them anymore. And one of the most important relationships and the issues associated with it is with our mothers. The mother is where is the basis of our personalities being formed, and she is responsible for the development of our emotions and our caring sides, and how are we able to how we're able to nurture and show affection towards others. It is a mother is what forms us as us in the 3D way of life right here on the planet. So mother wounds can be created from early on in childhood, when a parent, especially mother in this case, is not fully developed emotionally themselves. And this could go two ways, and it doesn't matter how or what side of it you experienced. It matters that the result matters. What happens today and how you've been affected by it is what matters. But the distortion of motherhood, the toxic motherhood, is it can come out two ways. It could be that and what I mean is in unhealthy relationships with mothers, children that have mother wounds and have unhealthy relationships with their mom. It could be because either one, they came from a narcissistic relationship with their mother, where the mother was an attention seeker, a narcissist, someone who was controlling the family, the head of the family, and everybody else had to submit to them. So basically an alpha mom and also a narcissistic mom. In this scenario, you as a child might have had to, whether you were the golden child who was receiving the full-time attention of this person, or whether you were the one that had to constantly satisfy this person, and had constantly to prove yourself to this person. Their sense of control and their sense of the lack of empathy and the lack of nurturing and the lack of true emotions could have affected you in a way that you're either grown up to a narcissist yourself, or someone with narcissistic tendencies themselves, or that you're attract narcissists into your life. So, and why is that? That is because moms are role models. If you had a mother that was constantly seeking attention and was unable to show care and to show compassion, and even if they were showing it, it was to gain something out of their children and their husband and their surroundings, that's what you pick up. That is what automatically you perceive as love, as the highest form of love. And because, like I said in my previous post, we define love usually as what we receive from our parents in early childhood, because the first thing we're taught is your mom and dad love you, and then you pay attention to their behavior, and whatever they show you is perceived as love. So if you're in a toxic environment where you haven't received compassion, you were not accepted, you were not appreciated, and you had to prove yourself, and you had to you were never enough, and you were never you always had to seek their approval and constantly had to please them. That becomes the basis of your love relationships in the future as you grow up and become an adult, and that becomes your model. And as you enter relationships yourself, you carry this distorted pattern into your relationships. You might become a people pleaser. You might become someone who's constantly trying to make your partner happy, and that might automatically attract a narcissist into your life, because they prey on empaths, on people pleasers, on someone who constantly gives. Or you could become a narcissist in a sense that you go after people that can give to you and fill your voids, the voids that were not filled in the childhood by your parents and your family, and especially by your mother. The other form of distortion in motherhood is if your mother created a codependent relationship with you, if they were overly giving, if they were overly protective, if they never let you get away from their grip, if they were fully controlling, if they decided for you for every little thing that you were responsible for, they made for you, they made decisions for you, or they expected excuse me, if they expected from you to form your decisions based on their input, or always ask for their opinions, if they were powerfully involved in your decision-making process and in your life to a point of dependency, that is also toxic, and that could have caused you to become an adult where you're either tyrannical alpha person, where you expect to have full control over your relationship, and you don't care for the opinion of your partner, or that you could be fully submissive and you would need someone to lead your life for you. And I hope in this little blurb of definition you realize how either of, like, both of these cases are not balanced relationships. They're not balanced in a sense that one side of the scale is tilted towards receiving, and one side is constantly giving, and there is no equality in the give and take, and it creates a toxic environment for a relationship, and the chance of growth is very minimal in such a situation. So whether you're male or female listening to this, and if you're a divine feminine or divine masculine listening to this, if you're in a spiritual connection, what comes up as a result of the planet movements and the sign of Cancer, and the energies of Mother Earth all together, is all these issues from childhood are resurfacing back to your consciousness for you to look at. How you were treated as a child, and where the shortcomings were, how your efforts and your love and your attention was taken for granted, maybe how your decisions were manipulated by the authority of your mother, how your emotions might have been manipulated as a child, how your mother might have pulled you to them and away from your dad, how all the different types of toxicity that could come up, but mostly with more traditional families, the role of a mother is either the alpha or fully submissive, and like I said, both cases are very toxic, and they show usually the same result in the person as an adult, because in families that you might have thought your dad as the alpha in the family, your mother might have still been very capable of manipulating their children and their family to believe that they are a victim, and that easily plants the victim mentality into the head of a child as they grow up. And usually for men who are usually closer to their mother, this shows itself in patterns of control and obsession when it comes to their relationship with females in their adulthood. So if you have relationships where you feel you need constant control, when you feel that you have to watch your relationship or your person too closely, where you have to know of every move they make, you have to have a say on everything, every single thing in the relationship, and if you don't, you feel uncomfortable or you feel insecure. The basis of that is in your childhood, where that role was played by your mother onto your life. It could also be that because you thought of your mother as a very controlling person, or very influential person, or very powerful person, that could also affect your life to tilt towards trying to take that control away from the female person in your life, or the feminine energy in your life, if you're in a same-sex relationship. the mother-child relationship is the most important relationship that a person experiences in their entire life, because usually in families where the mother has a tight grip on their children, this grip doesn't disappear over time. It might actually grow stronger. For a mother who was dependent on their children to get their validation, or constantly wanted the love and attention of their child as a kid, that love and attention just grows. Like that love seeking or control just grows. It grows from telling you what to wear as a child, or what to do, or what to say, or how to behave, or what kind of grades you should be getting, or where you should go, with who to talk to, all the way up to providing financial support, providing emotional support, providing you see, it's all providing for their well-being. Even as an adult, you have to watch what you say and how you live your life in order for the family to keep their reputation. Let's say, like, you cannot have any job you like, you cannot say anything you like, you can't marry whoever you want, you can't live in any condition that pleases you, because the family reputation is on the line, and because the mother's reputation is on the line, because now they have to explain to their friends and their people about you and why you're living your life like that. So you're not allowed, you shouldn't, because you are part of the family, so you have to obey the family rules, even if you're, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years old, and you're living your own life. You're still under the leash and the control of a mother. In this case, I'm not touching on the father control right now. We're talking about the mother. So what to do now where these wounds resurface? Because resurfacing old wounds could be very painful, and it makes people very uncomfortable. And usually throughout life, whenever these wounds surfaced, odds are we shoved them under the rug, and we turned our head. We tried to not look at it. We tried to say, "Oh, that's what it is. This is my family. That's how it is, I guess." Or, "I can never change my mother. I can never change my situation." And you try to live with it, and you try to cope with an abusive relationship. In whatever form you look at it, it's an unbalanced relationship, usually with a lack of true love. The love in these relationships is very it's more expectations than unconditional love. You're only loved and you're only received if you're a certain way and not the other. I haven't seen many families where many traditional families where a child could be anything and anyhow they want, and the parents would still be supportive and loving. And I am really proud of parents where they tell their children they love them when they come out and tell them that they are in a same-sex relationship, or that they left their high-end job to become a musician, or that they're doing something to be true to themselves, and they still have the support of that family. So where I'm going with this is one of the painful things the painful feelings that you might get once these wounds resurface is you see how not loved you've been, especially when you understand the true meaning of love and unconditional love. and you have felt unconditional love, then you realize that the love that you received from your mother, from the one person that had to love you unconditionally, or was, you were told that will love you unconditionally, and you see how conditioned and distorted and self-righteous it was. It can really break your heart. You might feel that you didn't even have a mother all your life, and that could create a huge wound in your heart, a new wound. Lack of motherhood, lack of somebody who should have been there and who should have supported you, who should have taught you how to love, who should have healed you, who should have protected you, and this person was not capable of that. Because let's be honest, not every person, and especially in the old paradigm and old way of life, not every person had children when they were ready for children. Not every person was aware of their own shortcomings and problems and their character flaws. A mother is, like I said in a previous post, a mother is just another soul. She's just another person. She is not an angel. She is a human being with all her shortcomings, with all her good and bad. She is a mixture of everything, and it's the media and the books and the stories and the paintings and the lyrics and all the poems that made her into such an angelic being, that suddenly she's not allowed to make mistakes. Suddenly she's not allowed to have a bad day. Suddenly she's not allowed to not be able to love unconditionally. Suddenly she's not allowed to have flaws. And I feel that's the problem. The picture that was painted, that is painted for children early on, that their mother is the angel in their life, makes you associate everything that they're doing, even the things that make you upset, into that's probably it. That is supposed to be it, and that's what I'm getting, and that's what a mother's love looks like. And it takes years into your adulthood until you understand that you were probably a victim of abuse. You were in a narcissistic relationship with your mother. You were in your relationship with them was not balanced, was not loving, was not supportive, and you were just feeding into a one-sided connection with them. So how to deal with these wounds when they resurface is trying to forgive yourself for not knowing, not having known, because as a child you don't have an idea. You're learning. They are your role model. They are the one that is supposed to teach you of care and love and nurturing and forming connections with other people and all those primal feelings that a child needs to feel and needs to be guided on the right direction. You need to forgive yourself for not knowing, for not having understood that you were a victim of a one-sided toxic relationship with your mother, that you couldn't tell. Even if up to today, even if you're 50 years old and you're still learning about this, you need to forgive yourself for all the years that you were subject of their toxic energy, and you also need to forgive them. You need to forgive them for their absence, pretty much, because a narcissistic mother is an absent mother. It's sometimes it's even worse than not having a mother, because not having a mother, you could imagine your mother the way you liked as an angel in your head, and not having had their love is just because they were physically not there. But if you had a mother that was physically there but was controlling, was abusive, was wanted to have a say in your life and manipulated you into living your life the way they approved and they appreciated, then this mother was absent as a role model, or her presence was actually, her role was has pushed you into becoming or developing toxic patterns into your life as an adult, forming relationships with men and women based on a sense of taking or giving. If you're a male, you might have grown up into an adult who is controlling, who's obsessive, who is who could also lack self-esteem in a very severe way, who gets their pleasure and their approval from their partners in a relationship, constantly seeking approval from a partner, constantly wanting to know that they're good enough, constantly looking at the mouth of to the mouth of other people for appraisals, and not believing in themselves, because all their childhood they have been trying to prove themselves to their mother, and that just grows up with them. And if you were a girl, you looked up to your mother and you had to please her, so you grow up to a woman that constantly wants to please the other person, wants to you want to prove yourself to your partner, you want to be good enough, you want to be accepted, and you could have severe insecurity issues. Forgiveness of a mother is it is the start of healing these wounds. Forgiving her for neglect, for times that she wasn't there, for times that she was too controlling, for times that her opinions and her likes and dislikes affected your happiness, for times that you sacrificed who you should have been or who you wanted to be or how you wanted to be for her and her reputation and her well-being and her society and her people. Because as I mentioned in my post about narcissism, sometimes things don't end at these mothers. Sometimes it extends to their society, to their circle, to their friends, to their family, and you have to please them also, not just the mother, but everybody around them. Everybody that's important to them has to be pleased by your actions as well. You have to study a certain program because everybody in the family has done that. You have to become a lawyer and not a painter, because what are people going to think? It's their way of manipulating their children into going a certain direction and not the other. By suddenly things are more than the mother's likes. What are people going to think? What is your cousin going to think? What is your uncle or your aunt is going to think if you are this way and not the other? Or you had to kill some aspects of your character and not ever show them. Like if you had talents, if you had musical talents, if you had poetic talents, if you were good in athletics, or if you had a more nurturing side, if you were a male. One of the most toxic things that mothers or generally parents teach their boys is men don't cry. And And so a boy becomes somebody that most women perceive as not having emotions. A lot of women think that men don't have emotions, but men feel very deep emotions. It's just that their parents or their mother from the very early on, they taught them not to cry. And crying is a form of showing emotions. If you're happy and you cry, if you're sad and you cry, if you're angry and you cry, that is the outburst of emotions. And a boy from their early ages, they learn to hide it. They learn to not give to it. Or I have seen some families that don't allow their boys to wear happy colors, like red, like pink. Oh, these are girly. All these putting children into a certain criteria because of their gender, and this opens another topic, and I don't want to get into too deep into this. But you see where I'm going with this. It's that level of control into suffocating a child's emotion, and their softer side. So a lot of these boys grow up with a very suffocated feminine side in them. And all of us as human beings, we have both sides into us. We have the feminine and the masculine side. But in these in a toxic relationship with a toxic mother, in boys and girls, the feminine side dies. So because you didn't have somebody to nurture that, you didn't have somebody to show you what healthy femininity looks like, you didn't have somebody to show you what nurturing means, what care means, what giving means, and what a healthy family tie looks like. So whether you were a girl or you're a boy, the feminine energy in you is very underdeveloped. It's very it could be very toxic. If you're a girl, you're in a masculine energy. You pursue men. You want to feed them. You want to get their attention. You might be looked at as desperate, because you're in your masculine energy. You're not receiving. You're achieving. You're trying to be an achiever. You might be very successful in your career and in your social life, because that comes with masculinity. That is the developed masculine energies in you, where you can go and you're a go-getter, you're an achiever. But with feminine energy, where it's about receiving and caring and nurturing and loving, that is so underdeveloped in you as a girl, that you don't even know what receiving looks like. And you don't believe that you can receive, that if you sit back you will receive. And if you're a male, that femininity is in you, is dead, and it's suffocated because of all those emotional kills, and because of not having a good role model, that you become a tyrannical man. You become someone with no emotions, with no not knowing how to love, not knowing how to nurture a relationship, not knowing how to show your love to your partner, not knowing what to say, what to do. So providing becomes your way of showing your love. If you can buy gifts, if you can buy, it's all financial, it's all masculine, it's all in a way it's all by actions, but you can't show it by nurturing, by caring, by saying. And you have to forgive your mother for this. And once you understand that role was absent in your life, then you will see that the person that can give this to you right now is you. Because once we're aware of what we don't have or what we didn't get from somebody else, then it's truly us left for us to give that to ourselves. Forgiving your mother means that you don't expect her to love you anymore, so you try, so you stop trying. That's the end of a huge cycle of trying to please, trying to seek approval, trying to make happy, trying to obey her rules. And I'm not saying that you become a rebel all of a sudden, but you can easily shift all that trying from her, like towards her, and shift it towards yourself. Give to yourself, make yourself happy. See where your happiness truly lies. And it could start with little things. If you used to call your mom every day to just tell her of your achievements and hoping that she would cheer you on, you can just write to yourself. Just write about all the things that you did today and made you happy. If you had to, I don't know, make her a meal and invite her over and tell her about things and listen to her dramas and traumas and all the gossips and everything, because usually these mothers are also very gossiping and comparing and worried about everybody else's life. So instead of doing that, you can make yourself a good meal. You can take yourself out. You can give to yourself, and you can boost your energy from falling into toxicity of gossips and the low vibe energies and comparings and competition into feeding yourself and making yourself happy. With forgiving an absent parent, an absent mother, comes a balanced relationship with them. If you put your effort into it, try to balance out the amount of time that you interact with them. Because as much as they are your family and they are your mother, you have to think of yourself. You have to think of your health, your well-being, your happiness. Your life, for however old you are, has been affected by their toxic patterns. And it is time that once you become aware of what's wrong, immediately is the time that you need to put your effort into fixing the situation. And fixing the situation is fixing it on your side, because it's not your job to fix your parent, and odds are you can't. You cannot change another person. You have tried all your life to change that, right? You have tried all your life to have their love and their attention and their affection. Did that happen? Most likely not, right? So you have to forgive yourself for being part of that unbalanced relationship and shifting your focus to yourself, and give to yourself and love yourself and cheer yourself on for your achievements. If you're doing something that you love and you're successful at it, give yourself a gift, give yourself a reward for that. Pat your own back and write about it. Writing is a very strong tool on getting energy out of yourself and into something else and releasing. And as you forgive your mom and control and balance your relationship with them, slowly things start working out. Not in a sense that they change, but in a sense that you understand and you're conscious about the nature of the relationship. And yes, it will always leave a sense of like when I think of my relationship with my mother, there's always a sigh in me. There is always a a sense of feeling sorry, but not in a victimized way. Not and that's one more important thing to do. Don't victimize. Don't feel sorry for yourself for being in this situation, and that's the part that you have to forgive yourself, because it's not your fault. But feeling sorry that things turned out like that, but understanding the situation that you were in, and the family ties that you had, and how they can help you grow into a better, stronger person, instead of pushing you down and keeping you locked and chained. That will liberate you, that will release your soul, that would make you feel lighter, make you feel easier on yourself, and suddenly your life starts flowing a lot smoother, because you're not a victim of their toxicity anymore. You're aware of their toxicity, and with the awareness comes power. Knowing is power, and once you know the nature of the relationship with your mom, you can work on your shortcomings and on the flaws of your relationships with your spouses, with your family, your own family, your children, if you have any, and trying to fix that, so we don't carry ancestral karma into our future, so we don't carry wrong patterns into our future and into our children and into our families. You might live with the feeling of loss, because once you understand that your parent was emotionally absent or not capable of feeling love the way the books and the media and the stories and fairy tales say, but they had their love with all the expectations and all the flaws and everything else, it could leave you with a sense of loss, a sense of, it's like reality hits you hard. But that's okay, because now you know, and once you know, you can do something about it. Once you know, it's not like you're going, it's like somebody is sleepwalking towards a ditch or toward off the cliff. If you were asleep, you would keep walking and you will fall. But once you wake up, and you see where you're going, even if you're still walking, you see where you're going, you can see the edge of the cliff, you can see the ditch, you can see the downfall of your character, your emotions, and your heart, and your relationships with everybody else. You can do something about it. You can you can make a U-turn, you can turn right or left and go a different direction, and you can do something for yourself. Always believe that you have enough power to change your future. You can never go and change your past, but you always have the opportunity to change what's coming for you. And as much as change is difficult, change is liberating. It releases you from chains and from being stuck, and it shifts your life forward. It moves you, and it grows you, and it makes you happy. So that is pretty much it for today. I hope it helps, and hopefully the month of Cancer is going to be an eye-opening month for all of us in our relationships with our mothers and our relationships with our children, and the role of a mother in a child's life is highlighted in this month, and the role of a family and home and creating that. So this is also a month that you can mother yourself, nurture yourself, give to yourself. And if you feel these wounds resurfacing, don't be afraid. You're okay, you're fine, you're protected. These wounds are resurfacing for you to look at them, to become aware of them, and to forgive and let go of them, because they belong to your past. Your future is bright, it is healed, and you are going to come out a much stronger person out of all this. Have a beautiful weekend and take care.